Welcome to the Cepheid variable. This is our actual play podcast using the Traveler rule system. If this is your first time joining us, hello, my name's Chris. I'll be the referee for this season, probably most of them, unless someone else decides they want to run it. But we here at the Chaos Engine podcast, we strive to make you feel like you're at a table with friends, laughing along at the jokes, having fun, enjoying the tension that dice bring, enjoying the chaos that dice brings. We hope that you enjoy what you're about to hear. Before I get into our Patreon folks who support us, this episode was recorded a long time ago. Probably closer to, 7 months or so. About the time Meescha was running her game. And so some of the information that we have that I say about Traveler is wrong. I just kind of had skimmed the surface of the rules at that point. I wasn't really familiar with them. I've since gotten very familiar with them. So I just want to make that aware up front. I make some goofs, and I want to be held accountable and let you know that I fixed all those goofs I had. So the first half will be us discussing which system we're going to choose, which, spoiler alert, you already know what it's going to be. But I thought you might enjoy the conversation we had and kind of how we went through that process. And then the second half of the episode is going to be us kind of creating our own mark, splitting off a divergent path of the Traveler universe and picking what we want in sci-fi, what we don't want in sci-fi, and helping to build that universe together. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you stick around for episode 1, which is going to be character creation, and all the episodes to follow that. So without further ado, let me get into the Patreon folks here so you can get into this episode. We have Taylor, Drowrin, Miles, Randy, Yam, Colby, Thomas, Randy G, Laszlo, Hovo, H-O-V-O, Jeremy, Ben, and Garth. We appreciate you guys' continued support, especially now that we're jumping into a new system. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, if you listen and like us, head on to our show notes. Got a link there. And if you do enjoy what you're hearing, leave us a review on whatever you're listening to us on. That would really help out. Spread the word around. Let people know. So yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoy what you're about to hear. Have a good day. We are gathered here today. This thing called life. Yeah. No, we are here today to talk about the next system that I, Chris, am going to run. And I have decided upon a sci-fi game. We put it to a vote. It was between a sci-fi game, Achtung Cthulhu, and a 1940s kind of romp where you fight Nazis a lot. And I really want to run sci-fi because it's a genre that I don't particularly know a whole ton about. And so I wanted to challenge myself and get more immersed in it and run it.
But you gave us that option.
I did, yes.
You said, these are the 3 that I would like to do. What do you guys want to do?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's not about me. Like, I'm going to get to everybody.
But that was, I mean, to be honest, like, that was really cool because there have been games, obviously, where someone's like, hey, I love this system. Do you want to play? Yeah. Instead of being like, hey, do you want to play? These are the options. Yeah. So that was really cool.
Oh, yeah. And then we gave I sent out another survey of games, and I had everybody rank their top 3 choices. And I assigned certain statistical, basically your first choice was 3 points, second choice was 2, third choice was 1, and I put it all in Excel, added it up.
If the choice is Chris's preferred one, it adds an extra 5 points.
Yeah. No, I wish. If that was true, we would be playing Stars Without Number.
Hey, I'm down with that.
I guess, what were all the... I think there were 6 options?
There were 6 options, and I had to go back and add one because I forgot about Stars Without Numbers because... That is the...
well, I think, didn't at first you just have a one choice and then you changed to rank choice?
I did, because Jake brought it up. It's like, hey, I like a lot of these systems.
They were all cool, yeah.
And so I was like, that's a very valid point. I will make sure. So the choices I gave them were Traveler, which is a D6 system. You have 3 stats and a bunch of skills you're going to roll. It's all D6 based. Character creation is a life path choice, where as you play, you create your character, and then they could die in character creation, and then you kind of go from there. There was Scum and Villainy, which is basically Space Blades in the Dark. You are a space crew, has a ship. You run missions. Your job is to get as much money as you can to retire. We did a one-shot for my birthday one year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was Mythic Space, which is a newer sci-fi game that's out there that is a mixture of D&D 4E tactical combat and Blades in the Dark style mission-based running. It's all D20 based, so you roll a D20, and then depending on what you roll, it kind of has the guidelines of Blades in the Dark, but with higher numbers.
Right.
And the combat itself is very much tactical. There's a lot of flanking bonuses and stuff like that to keep track of, which I think would be good, but it would be tough because I think we'd want to do it with a grid, and we don't have a whole lot of table space. So that was something I was trying to figure out what we're going to do. There was Mothership, which is a D100 space horror, think aliens. It's all based around aliens.
I voted for that one. You had me at aliens.
Does it use the aliens lore?
No, but it's like you're a marine or a miner and stuff like that. There are corporations.
Okay,
very alien reminiscent.
Like yeah,
I just got a really cool module for it that I want to run called "This Ship is a Tomb."
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that. Yeah,
it's Event Horizon as a dungeon crawl.
Oh yeah.
So you show up on a ship and you go through it, and then crazy shit happens, and it's almost like an endless dungeon, because the further you go, you can't go back anymore, and you roll to see what room comes next, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's sick.
And we can still maybe run as a one shot, but
yeah. And you can also explain how wormholes work with a piece of paper and a pencil, because that's how every single sci-fi that explains wormholes.
That cliche.
That'd be great.
There is Warp Star, which is another system that we is one of the options. Tyler, we played this one time. We also played the fantasy version called Warlock.
Yes.
This is personally one of my favorite systems.
You've always talked
very
about
simple.
You were always talking about how you want to do Warlock.
Yeah, well, I'm running a Warlock game now, so I have
finally got your Warlock game.
Oh, that's so good. Essentially, the game is you have a D20. You have all it is skills. You don't have stats. You just have skills. Mm-hmm. You roll a D20, you add your skill to it. If you roll 20 or above, you succeed in the test. If not, you fail, and things go from there. That simple. There's no other.
Gotcha.
Obviously, Warp Star is a little bit more complicated because there's laser beams and shit like that, so there's a little more chunk to it. Mm-hmm. And then finally, there's Stars Without Number, which is a Kevin Crawford game that is a OSR throwback where you have three stat, or you have all your 6 stats you're used to in D&D. So strength, dex, con, wisdom, intelligence, charisma, and there's 3 classes. You could be a fighter, a psionic, or a mixture. Oh, sorry, no, there's 4. There's psionic, warrior, adventurer, and then the 4th one is you pick 2 of the other classes and you're a hybrid of them.
Huh.
So I think it's very much the vibe I get is Mass Effect. So
that one's really cool.
Yeah, but it's extremely deadly. It is extremely deadly.
Yeah, we don't play those games here.
No, to the point that
even more
warriors in the game have an automatic hit. Once per fight, you automatically hit and do damage.
Mm.
And you're gonna have 6 hit points.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna kill something instantly. So combat is very. You're not getting into combat unless you're ready for it. Yeah. So. You had your hand up.
Yeah.
Was that for a question?
That was for a question, okay. Yeah. I was waiting for a break point. But then it ended up being more disruptive. Damn. So, my question was, are you going to be doing a homebrew for any of these, or is this going to be from, okay. So
that would be something we'd talk about.
Okay. Because that kind of factor, because I basically if you're not doing a homebrew and you're going to do one of the things baked into that system or whatever, sort of in working with that, I would want to know how those worlds differ too then.
Yeah. So, Traveler is, it's your generic, you could do anything in Traveler. You can do Star Wars, Starship Troopers, all of that. Generically, it has a world that's baked in there that there's infinite amount of universes and stars that you can go to tell whatever story you want. Every planet has like an ID, and you go off of that, and it just kind of everything's built into that. So it's really just you make it what you want. You can have Xenos in it. There are set like Xenos in there. So there's like the big ones are like dog people. There's some cat people. Like there's stuff like that built into it. Scum and Villainy, it's just you play within that universe. Like you are not making your own universe for that. Yeah, it's all mission based. There's a lot of different factions that play off each other. There is some like light force power, psionic power stuff in there. Mythic Space, there is an existing world too. I don't know a whole much about it because I didn't read it super in depth. Mothership is just you make what you want. There is no set universe for it. You do whatever you want and make it however you want. Warp Star is roughly based off of Rogue Trader, which is Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
There is not a ton of like chaos stuff in there in that sense, but it's very much think of like a Warhammer 40K kind of like gross industrial world. But there's also elements of Dune in it where there is a spice and like a corporate entity that controlled like a hegemony that controls the spice and stuff like that. But I don't think people like get high with it to fly spaceships and shit like that like Dune. So
gotcha. And I'm not interested.
Stars Without Number is just generic. Like you straight up roll for the starting galaxy you're in. Like you roll for every single planet and everything to build and flesh out your entire solar system as you go.
Cool.
So yeah, that's kind of the basics. So from all those choices, we narrowed it down to Warp Star and Traveler. I'm gonna cough here real quick. Mainly because I have a sort of dry throat and I didn't drink enough water. So
he called it. Okay, sorry.
I was telling Meescha outside, we were talking about her game, and I said the only piece of advice I can give you, water, because the amount of talking you do as a DM is
so much more
insane compared to a player, and you won't realize it until halfway through.
That's very true. So I wanted to talk with you guys and see what are you interested in game wise. So
Traveler.
Yes, Traveler is very, like I said, it's like a fairly simple game.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of like it's modular. So you add on what you want in the game and you don't have to run like every system. You basically get to pick and choose what systems that you want to do. So if we don't want to have like psionics or any of that, cool. We just don't have to worry about it. It's not in our game. If we wanted to have like space combat, cool. We'll have it in our game. If we want mechs, we'll have it in our game kind of thing. Like we get to build the chunks that we want to run the game. Versus Warp Star, which is very much, it's a very simple game. Like it's the character creation is easy. The leveling is going to take some used to with you guys, where you have a career and every time you get an advancement, which is typically you get like one advancement per game session, 1 or 2, you can only level up your skills in your career. And then once you get to a certain level, you actually have to change careers, pick a new career, and that's how you level up other skills with your character. So it's kind of
interesting.
We'd have to figure out the role-playing aspect of that, like what's going to cause you to change your skill and kind of go that route instead of just like all of a sudden like, yeah, I'm a warrior today now because I'm leveled out of this. So I think that would just be story elements where we'd have to work into that, how that works, whether it be like one of you is a warrior or one of you is a trader. So like guys are talking, and through that talking, you're like, let's spar a little bit, and you can start explaining that as how you're going to take that next level advancement. Warp Star is pretty deadly as well. It is you have like 2d6 hit points,
right?
And then all the damage is d6 based, like 2d6 to like 1d6 to 2d6 kind of.
So 2 shots damage. And
you'll have armor.
Average. Oh, okay.
But whatnot. But yeah, it goes pretty hairy pretty quickly. Crits in the game are pretty rare. Like you have to roll 3 times the score of whatever they roll.
Oh, damn.
Which, yeah. So, one of the big things about Warp Star combat, and same with Warlock combat, is melee combat is the deadliest. Because you both roll, and whoever rolls higher succeeds.
Ooh.
But you as the attacker get a +5 to your roll, helping sway it in your odds. But you could fail, and the enemy gets to swing at you and attack you. So it's very deadly in that sense, versus ranged is very much just like roll versus dodge and whatnot, and it's not as bad. But melee combat is super, super deadly.
Okay.
And Traveler is, like I said, Traveler is just, it's classic. It's been around since like D&D.
Right.
It's like the 70s or something.
Yeah. It is essentially like, I don't know if it's 100% true, but I know everybody hears about it, that The Expanse was based off of a homemade Traveler game.
Really?
That's also what we were talking about. I didn't know it was Traveler, though.
Yep. Apparently, they played a homemade Traveler game, and out of that, the two guys who are S.A. Corey wrote the books based off of everything that happened in that book.
That's crazy to hear.
So
then I'm in.
Yeah. You convinced me.
Yeah. Oh, well, to fill more time. No, just kidding.
So like the basic Traveler thing is you're going to have 6 stats. So you have strength, dexterity, endurance. Those are kind of your physical characteristics. And then you have intellect, education, and social standing as your mental characteristics, kind of like all those. And then you have skills that you get from your background. And depending on what your characteristic modifier scores are, you get to add dice to your roll. So, that's kind of how it's like each of your characteristics, you roll 2D, so 2D6. And then in the traditional way, you go one after another. So you don't get to roll and then assign, you just go down the list.
Which is what I'm hoping we all do.
Yeah, I'm hoping we do Traveler, and I'm going to do it as close to
the book,
the classic way as possible. Because
I'll do the same thing.
And so going from there, a lot of it is you go through, like I said, there's a whole like life choice thing that you go through. So you roll your characteristics, and then you pick a background. So you get to pick a background that you're going to do. And then
can you roll dice for that?
Yeah, I was going to say you might as well.
Because I would want to go into it with no preconceived idea of a character.
Yeah. So then from there, you either go into your pre-career education. So you choose university or military academy and roll for entry, which you could completely fail, and then you don't get to...
You don't make it in.
Yeah, you don't make it in. And then you start a new term. So you choose a career, roll for qualifications. If you fail, roll for draft, or choose a drifter. So if you fail, then you can go to the military. And then that goes to a whole other... You roll a survival check. And if you fail, you roll on the mishap and leave the career otherwise stated, in which you can go back to start a new term. So you can start to grow through the military and stuff like this. So there's a whole other, like I said, it's something that we will do.
Yeah.
This is only one page, but there's like events that will happen each time during your career, and then you'll have advancement, and then it'll just kind of, I'll print out a chart for everybody so we can do it.
Yeah, that part seems exciting.
But that's the kind of the basics of it is we go through and we make these characters, and then out of that we just make what we're going to do. I would want to like start building up like a world, and kind of I want to design stuff ourselves. That's not necessarily play within the Traveler universe, but kind of make things our own. I think that'd be really cool to sit down and be like, what tropes don't you want? Like I know when Tyler and I were going to do a sci-fi game, he didn't want any non-human like Xenos. So it's like
for that one.
Yeah. So it's like, cool, we're not going to have any aliens. Humans are the only creatures in the universe that have taken over stuff that have like a sentient level of stuff. And like one of the things, like another person didn't want like single biome planets like Star Wars. Like they didn't want that. So just things like that we'll talk about and kind of develop and build out the base levels of a universe that we want, and then all work within those confines and kind of put a story together. Okay. I think Traveler sounds really dope. I need to do more research into it because I've never run it, obviously. So I was probably going to check out like Seth Sorkowski's YouTube and go digging through that stuff and start getting a good deep dive into how to run it, because it seems like it's something I've never really run before. But yeah, if we want to do Traveler, then
quick question:
what's up?
Do you have any arguments, both systemically or like story-wise, for Warp Star over Traveler, like specifically in how they operate? Is there anything that you've noticed where you're like, oh, this part of it, would be really cool in Warp Star, but Traveler doesn't have that?
No, I think both of them could do. I mean, it depends on what type of story you want to tell, right? Like, I think Warp Star would be really fun, but I think you're really going to be limited to that grim and gritty universe that it has set up, where it's like, if you're not into quasi Space Marine-esque, like Rogue Traveler's not the Space Marine level, but there's still that like level of like, there's a hegemony. There are these, like basically Marines, like Space Marines out there that can operate and whatnot, and you're kind of living in the confines around that.
Cool.
But it's cool. Like, I love the system. I love Warlock. It's a very fun system. I just don't know. I think my biggest fear with running it is, I just don't know how to handle the advancement in like a fun, interesting way, because I don't have enough with the system to make it meaningful to the story. Like, that's always been my issue with like D&D and like Pathfinder. It's like, oh, I level up, all of a sudden I know all this shit.
Yeah. But I think that especially in a sci-fi game, and we've talked about this, I think that's where you can kind of lean on us.
Yeah.
Where we can really be like, oh, my character, he has always had the dream of owning his own ship, so now he's going to start piloting.
Right. And I think the one thing with Warp Star is it's very bare bones. Like, there's not like a whole ton of systems in there, so if we're going to come up with stuff, we're probably going to have to edit. We're going to have to do it like a lot of homebrew stuff and just kind of go with the flow on it. Like, the game I'm running, the Warlock game I'm running, they decided they wanted to open a mine. And I'm like, well, there's no rules for like a mining check and how much ore they're going to get.
Looking at Tyler's
open
face.
a mine?
Yeah. So two of
like rocks and shit.
Yeah. So two of the brothers are they're dwarves who wanted to reclaim their family's lost mine. And so they found the mine, and so we had an entire session where they were rolling
Oh my god!
how much ore they could find,
mining checks, huh?
and then go back to town and sell it.
Damn.
And I love it.
Exactly.
I'm eating this shit up. I'm like,
when you hear about it from like a third party, you're like, oh wow. But I know if I was there, I'd be like, okay, here we go. Okay, let's see if I got any gems
it's like
this time.
One of my favorite things. I was listening to someone tell me about a Stars Without Number game that they were a part of, and he's like, yeah, our whole entire game is just like trade.
Yeah.
Like, we basically are like a space conglomerate, and we like buy stuff in one sector and we fly to another sector and like try to sell it and have these like debate, like these deal with bureaucracy and shit to make sure we can bring
pretty tight.
It's dope. Like, I think it's a really cool idea. It doesn't make it for a fun, compelling actual play. No.
That's, I mean, I play Elite Dangerous for hours just doing that.
100%. Yeah. It's very much
that's all I'm doing. Yeah.
So I think that's just, it's ridiculous. But, yeah, so like even everything in Traveler, going back to that, it's all dice based. So you roll to see what mishap, what events you get. So
I love it. Yeah, I think Traveler sounds from especially the creation element. It gets me. Yeah, it sounds like we're on Traveler.
Super stoked.
Cool. I think that's our plan. So I don't think we're going to do any character creation now, obviously, but because we need to get everything. But the world itself, like I said, there is enough to where we can make whatever we want. And if anything, I'm going to pull from the Stars Without Number stuff because they have a ton of shit in there for like creation. And I'm pretty sure someone made an entire database of all of the planets within Traveler. Yeah.
Nice.
So you just punch in whatever planetary number and it will bring it up.
Because there is a deep lore.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like it goes pretty in depth.
Yeah. So essentially it's very similar to what I understand is very much like we became, at one point we became starfarers and then we basically forgot about Earth as we started to colonize the universe. And then there are two different types of Xenos. There are humanoid Xenos who bred with like planets that had beings. And then there are full-blown Xenos that don't have any human DNA in them. And so there's like different things. But then there's also like, much like the Expanse, there's Belters. And there's people who only grew up in space.
There's like an empire. And there's a whole...
There's all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah. And so I think that's something we would talk about, whether we want to be fully engulfed in that or we want to make up our own idea and go with that.
Sure.
But there was like it came out in the 70s, I think like late 70s, whatever.
Yeah.
But then there was like a rebake in like 2015.
So yeah, it's
like a 4th edition or 7th edition or something.
Yeah. And there's also, so the original is now like the Seraphis system or something like that. They're like they split off at one point. So we would be playing second edition.
Okay.
That is the version I have.
Okay.
I think it's regarded as probably the best of the versions. I got it on like a humble bundle of holding for.
So when you say second edition, is that so? What year is that from? Actually, ish. Like, is that the old, or is that like new?
No, it'd be second edition. So this one would probably be. See if I can find anything on here.
Yeah, I'll download that beach tonight.
I don't know. Let me see if I can get to the credits on here. This is so it's the Traveler Core Rulebook updated 2022. So it's the updated second edition.
Okay,
cool
version. So this Traveler 2021. So it's pretty new.
So there's support. They're working on it constantly.
Yeah, cool. So I think we'll do. We got Traveler, so that's good.
And so that is like mostly theater of the mind.
Yes.
It's not necessarily like a tactical grid.
There will be combat. I think you can have minis out and stuff like that.
Right.
I need to look more into the combat. Like I think for what I understand is you take stat damage first.
Oh.
So like when you're shot, you start with like your strength score, and then once your strength score goes down, then you move to like endurance, and once that goes down. So once you have 3 of your stats reduced, you die.
Oh.
0.
Damn.
Interesting.
So that's one thing we got to look into is I got to read more into the combat rules because it's a pretty. You're going to have like armor on to block some of the damage, but it can get pretty chunky there.
I guess so. Like we played one game, and it might have been Scum and Villainy, but I don't remember it. But it might have been 13th Age.
Yes.
Where like your movement speed is like. Short, medium, long. It's not even like in
far,
feet.
near, and melee.
Yeah. Is it something like that? Or is it something like you have a 25 to 35 foot speed?
I think you have a speed check.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Okay.
Let me take a look here and see if I can find it in the rules as I'm staring at the thing here. I think it's like even probably based off of skill.
Right.
I wouldn't put it past
okay.
them.
Kind of interesting,
yeah.
So you don't. Like it was binary in those crunchy games, but then this might be like a check. Yeah, do you get there or not in one turn? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to look here and see if maybe like you have to give like a speed check or something like that.
Because that sounds familiar. I've listened to a couple episodes of a Traveler podcast, and it sounds familiar as a speed check.
I'd have to take a look, but I don't think you have a set base, but I think you might have a set base, and then depending on what you roll above that is what you can move farther.
Okay.
So, let me see. I'm going to get here. I'll just cut all the silence out as I look.
And I think we should all go back and reread and rewatch The Expanse for inspiration.
I think we're like a season behind.
Yeah, maybe let's watch that newest season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I still haven't. I think is season 5 the one where Amos goes back to Baltimore? Or is that season 4?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I think I'm a couple seasons behind. I think I only watched like season 3.
I thought. Well,
I thought you read the books.
Nope.
Oh, you would love
them. Books are amazing. I've got 3 of the books in, and they're awesome.
I bet you'd really like them.
Probably. I hear nothing but great things about them.
Yeah.
Last season we watched, whether it's 4 or 5, they went to that new planet,
the new colony.
Yeah, new colony. Yeah. A bunch of crazy shit happened in that building.
I think that's number 4.
Yeah, and then someone went to Earth in like the boonies and like saw the poverty or something, and then that was I think where we ended.
I think that's going into season 5 when Amos goes back to Baltimore.
Yeah. Okay. And that one guy got written off as a character. Spoilers. I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Cut that out. I don't want to make anyone mad at
I don't think anybody knows who that character is.
Yeah,
I think I do.
Okay.
Someone dies. Spoiler.
Yeah.
The Praxidius Mung.
No. Yeah.
That's fine.
Prax is fucking awesome.
Prax is dope.
Prax is the dude.
So movement is 6 meters. You have 6 meters of movement.
Oh, okay. So it is a static number.
Depending on what you're, cool. So if you're human or alien, Xenos might have more.
Okay.
So,
but I like that.
Cool.
And then choosing like if you want to be a human or an alien, I know that's going to be in our game. Is that on a table or is that something that you decide yourself?
You decide.
Okay.
So there is, like I said, and we can even design one if you want to. I think there are rules in there to design your own Xenos.
I'll probably roll for it. Seems more fun.
But the basic levels, like I said, the basic ones are like humanoid, whatever the lion cat people are. I don't remember. Or the wolf people.
I once did like a deep dive on Traveler lore, but then I lost it all. It all left my head. But yeah,
quit smoking weed.
Hey, I don't smoke weed. I just drink a lot of vodka.
Same.
So don't pay that much attention. But some of the non-humanoid aliens were really interesting. And like some of the lore they had on like the alien empires, like the different ones that are big Xeno groups. Really interesting, but it's like you can use it or not. You don't have to.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of the stuff is just straight up like, and I like that it's not, you're not built in where it's like, that's your race, like older style D&D where it's like, if you're going to be an alien, you're just an alien. Did you guys want to go over and like start getting ground rules built out for the universe now, or do you want a little bit more time to think about it?
I want to think about it.
Let's think about it. Yeah. Do that as part of the
creation. I'm going to download the book and dig in.
I'll send you guys I'll make you buy a copy of the book.
I already have my own copy. Don't worry.
Your audible winks.
Winks.
Yeah.
So we are here to talk about basically
Cheers.
world creation for our Traveler game. We talked about we're going to be running this, and I wanted to sit everybody down and kind of go over what they want to see, what they don't want to see. Because I don't think we're going to set this fully into the Traveler universe. Just because I don't know, I want to do something different. I want to sit down and actually kind of flesh out our own thing. While the Traveler universe is really dope, and you know the immortal God King or Emperor and all that stuff, and the faster. I like the idea that, there's no faster than light communication. So if you send a letter, it still has to like go across.
There's a delay.
There's a delay in getting that message. I think it's pretty cool. But so I wanted to just kind of go through here, and it's not going to be super in depth. Obviously, chairs are going to be a big part of it, but just going to get a rundown of what people want, people don't want in this game that we're creating. So, like for instance, we're going to have a list of like things we want to see. And we have a list of things we don't want to see. This is kind of loosely based off of a game called Microscope, where Microscope is you're essentially creating a universe or a world by asking these questions and building this stuff out. And then you get more and more focus. So it would be like, what's an important timeline event that happens in this world? And we would put that down there. And so that exists now in the fiction. And then in timeline, you'd go even further and be like, who was it between? Who are the two factions? And then we'd each go around and pick something to add to that component.
It's pretty cool.
I don't think we're going to get that super in depth, but I'd like to come up with a couple key points that happen. But I'd like to at least get like 2 of everything from somebody in the beginning part. And if you don't have one, that's fine. Like I can't force you to do it. But just kind of think of things that you have liked and don't like in popular sci-fi media, and we can go that route. So, and then it kind of becomes this weird amalgamation. So, I'm going to put on my paper here once, and we'll start there. So what's something that you guys want to see in this universe?
So we're going sci-fi, obviously.
Yes, this is sci-fi.
So one of the things that I've always loved in, like, I was going to say, like, sci-fi anime, like Gundam, is I love when, like, there are space colonies that specifically, like, they have broken away or do not align with whatever planetary government that is. Because I don't know if we're going outside of the solar system and all that. So, like, but whatever it is, like, space colonies that have become independent. Whether that means they now exist peacefully or they fight against it.
That was my answer. I was going to say politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like it. So I'm going to write down.
We don't even need to make
space colony / independent.
But it should be a part of the war.
No, I like that. Yeah, absolutely. I like that idea. So we're already honing in on there's probably going to be some sort of a central government here. And then there are going to be factions outside of that central government. It's kind of where this is leading us. Mm-hmm. So, okay, cool. What else would people like
so
to see?
Quick question. Is this strictly sci-fi, or is this like verging, like, is there sci-fi fantasy elements, or is it like hard sci-fi?
I mean, that's what we're creating right now. Okay. So what do you want to see?
I usually like the freedom and coolness that sci-fi fantasy affords. Like, it lets you bend the story in a
sure. I mean,
way.
just since we're using Traveler, I don't think there's not a whole ton of magic. Their psionics are about the extent of magic.
Right.
So
okay, as long as there's tech, like for example, what I was gonna say is my wand is like, I love it when you know, whoever, you know, who's making the world is like using sci-fi, or like, you know, essentially the fact that it's sci-fi to predict crazy technology. You know, just basically that's what I want to see, is like some really either cool technology, or like there is some weird shit about the nature of the universe that is defined within a sci-fi, you know, like obviously like whatever that show was in book,
The Expanse.
The Expanse, like it basically is a good example of that, where they had, there's this crazy new tech that's like this alien whatever, and like we don't know how it works, you know, shit like that.
Sure, okay.
Like precursor race kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like that's an example, basically. Yes, like that is that's a perfect example, and anything like that, which is like either cool tech that operates in a weird way and like changes how we play because it's like whatever teleportation, or like, you know, which is a bad example because that trivializes a lot of things. But you know, whatever. So that's the kind of thing I would love to see.
Okay, so I'm gonna put like cool technology / unknown origin technology.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like
esoteric.
Esoteric.
Yeah, okay, cool. I like that. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. And so that's also kind of, that is going to, again, play into what we're saying here of like there's potentially this race that came before us, either left artifacts or whatever. We have those ideas kind of starting to form with what we have going on. So I love it.
Yeah.
I cut you off, Meescha. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to go along with that. And like, I really appreciate like alien culture in sci-fis, where it's just like humans just aren't the only one roaming out there. You know, like there's different kinds of species that like maybe resource control can be like a certain thing where one particular planet is inhabited, but like we do like trades with them for their particular resource on their planet, stuff like that. But I really like the differences between like all our customs as humans and then other customs that other civilizations would have.
Okay, cool.
Is cool to me. I really like how like Star Trek did that, where they're, you know, Ferengis are, you know, you can tell what a Ferengi is like, loves bartering and trading. That's just like a Ferengi. So like, I don't know, stuff like that I like.
Okay, cool. I like that. So that's something that we will definitely make sure we have in there. So, all right, Jake, what do you got?
So I'm kind of waffling between two, but I'm going to say I really am a big fan when there's some sort of, and this is kind of piggybacking on what we've already talked about, but I really like it when there's some sort of like large central exploratory committee, like Starfleet, or like in Hyperion, it's called like the Hegemony. Like I like, or like the
or
quote
like,
unquote Federation,
or even to like compare to other games, the Pathfinder Society or the Starfinder Society.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, it's just some sort of I like centralized.
Exactly.
Reason for people are exploring.
Exactly. And like, I don't know, I'm not saying I want us to be a part of that. I just think that's always a cool idea, is like, if there are going to be aliens, having some sort of like UN of like a just centralized government where everybody can talk about what's up.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Write that down. Central government for species. For galactic species.
And like, I guess I do just want to point out that I think the hegemony in Hyperion is like my favorite example of that.
I know that's part of, they have something similar to that in Scum and Villainy. Like they call it the hegemony.
Okay, nice.
Hegemony.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was hegemony.
Yeah.
So,
do I need to read Hyperion? What is this?
Every person who's ever thought sci-fi was kind of cool needs to read Hyperion. It is phenomenal.
I'll have to read it, yeah. I've been touching my Kindle more often.
All right. What's another thing that you want to see there, Tyler? Give me anything. 3 boob chicks. Total Recall, whatever you want.
I started thinking about other stuff and stopped thinking about things I'd want to see.
I wonder what.
Yeah.
Do you want more time? Because I can think of something else.
Yeah, can we skip me while I think about it? Yeah, skip me for now.
Okay.
I started looking up Hyperion. I should focus.
I don't know if this is worth saying, but like I think what I like in worlds and stories is, especially like this sci-fi, is when something happened that was like, this is gonna sound weird, but like super tragic and it's super like eerie. Like an example is maybe Full Metal Alchemist, when the Philosopher's Stone was like created by like sacrificing an entire city's people. Like everyone fucking died to create this Philosopher's Stone. So like when you finding that civilization, like what the fuck happened here? I like that kind of. It's like eerie and like cool, like eerie and crazy, tragic. And like another example is like the Firefly movie when they went to that one planet.
Yeah,
and like same deal. Like what the hell happened here? Like that's the kind of
the birth of the Reavers or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that.
I do want to point out that multiple examples we used, The Expanse and now Firefly, are all
Traveler games.
Traveler games, yeah.
Really?
I think Firefly is just a rumor that was Joss Whedon's Traveler game.
Holy shit.
But the Expanse is from the
Traveler game.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, the two guys who wrote it. It's like it was their home game.
Yeah, it was their play-by-post game.
Oh wow! I didn't know that
did
part.
It on a message board.
See that
that's
ridiculous.
That's like super inspiring to me. Like the fact that that it did that. Like that's super cool.
Yep.
I think it's a benefit to the Traveler system. I mean, you can run anything in Traveler sci-fi. Yeah. Like if you want to do Star Wars, you can.
Yep.
Like you have psionics, you can make it easier for people to get into that and use like their kind of powers. But okay. What else does people want to see?
I would say that I like seeing some sort of evil entity that no one can quite grasp, like the Borg in Star Trek, where they're like,
nice.
Like I'm fucking terrified of the Borg because it's like you don't know how they function. They are smarter than you. It's a hive mind. Like,
but I think they should also be sympathetic, like the Borg. Like, do you remember when, like in Next Generation, when they captured, it was like 3 of 7 or something, and they captured this Borg, and they were like running all these tests on it, and like it was detached from the hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think. I don't
just like some incomprehensible evil like
so
force.
I think part of me goes to like Mass Effect 2 when you get the Geth soldier on your side. That like you find
Legion.
him.
Legion
you
is
find
the
Legion,
fucking best.
Yeah, I really love that. That was a great. Mass Effect 2 is a fantastic game. If you're gonna play any Mass Effect game, play Mass Effect 2.
Yeah,
it's the only game where like I've sat at the end of the game for like a solid 5 minutes to decide what I was going to do.
Damn.
Like it was such like oh shit, like what do I do here? Because at the time I thought it was going to affect the next game. Turns out didn't really.
Yeah.
But that center theme was man, it's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anybody else want to add a want? I'm not really going to add a whole lot here, like personally, because I'm going to be crafting the story. Yeah. So I want your guys' input more than mine on all this. That's why I'm not giving any examples of stuff.
Well, I will say, like, if we stall, like, I think if you say some of what you want to do, that might spark like a reflex.
I will tell you right now, I'm going to have a planet because I designed this planet, and I'm fucking stoked to finally put it in something.
Just a wrestler planet?
It's not a wrestler planet.
Why not?
I mean, it could be wrestlers there, but I have always imagined this world where it's basically a jungle world, and there are plateaus where everybody lives on. So there's like 3 or 4 plateaus in this world where like all the people people live down in the jungle, but a lot of like the space trade and everything is done on these plateaus. And I have this image of like an entire district on this plateau, like sinking into the jungle on like this giant track. So like basically like train tracks come down and like every like 2 hours, the side of this fucking plateau descends into the jungle, and then people trade with them, and then it pops back up on top of the mountain, and then people so if you want to get to the jungle, you have to get to this district, and the district goes down into the jungle, and then it pops back up. So I've had this idea for a while, so I'm going to put that in there.
That's sick.
That's pretty sick.
So
that reminds me of, I randomly read some dude's like short story online, the idea of what if instead of oceans, it was just vast fucking jungles, like just earth stuff, but the ocean was just these jungles, like it sloped down into just complete darkness, and like the expeditions into that.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
especially maybe if there's like a fog over the forest, you have to like go into the fog to like
absolutely,
that'd be sick.
Terrifying.
As far as a want, I mean, I don't know if we kind of mentioned, I vaguely skirt around it, but I do really like the idea of ruins of some kind of previous race.
Okay.
Like, not necessarily you can figure out their technology, they're still around and they create everything, but just like the idea that there is just ruins of a prior civilization that expands across the galaxy with just no real answer. So what happened to them or why? I've always just liked that.
Yeah. Nice.
Definitely.
I have a pretty minor want.
Yeah, what you got?
I like spaceships.
There will be spaceships.
Yeah, I don't know if it's implied, but I think like central like HQ and like means of travel, because I think there's like cool sci-fi examples where it's, you know, based around one world or something, but it'd be cool if there's a ton.
Yeah, I plan on. Yeah, my goal was to have like build out basically a solar system. Start from there. I don't know if I was going to use the Traveler creation or the Stars Without Number. I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to do, but I was going to flesh out like a solar system to start with, and then go from there with what you guys wanted to see. That was my goal. So, okay, is there any other people got any other wants that they can think of right now?
I think there's an entire book on in the Traveler universe where they just describe how to build like spaceships and space travel, the duration of that, and like how long it would take to travel from this point on the map to that point on the map, and what you can do in between the points of travel.
Yep,
that's
not that I did a lot of research.
M drives, J drives. Yeah, though there's a space build. I figured if we're going to make a ship, we're going to sit down with that book, and we're going to have you guys design the ship you want. And then we'll go from that route. There's
parsecs too, so like if you have to travel X amount of parsecs, that's how much time passes and how much like if you get another term in that process. Like,
yeah, so essentially, it takes like in the travel universe, it takes like anywhere between like 6 and 8 weeks to travel a certain amount of distance. So in that time is when you spend training to build up your skills.
Yeah.
So you have to have like 6 weeks or 8 weeks of like uninterrupted time to train a skill up, and so that's what you do in that downtime on the ship. Is you just explain like, you know, do my daily duties, and then I'm like studying for this book, or like I'm sparring with somebody to work on my melee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So like, there's really cool stuff that can be done there.
I don't know if we're talking about stuff that we want to see in the game rather than the story, and I guess
both.
Okay,
so.
I guess I just want to get your guys' opinion on this, but I would be really interested in, and like, even if we did this portion of it, like off mic, like I think it'd be cool if we did like kind of like a more of like a resource monitoring, like really keeping track of what we have, and like really keeping track of like our distance traveled.
You liked that in the Mwangi Expanse. You liked like rationing the food and everything like that.
That makes it really interesting for me. Like really breaking down like, okay, more we have 3 weeks of
hard
travel,
bookkeeping kind of thing.
Yeah. But I completely understand if you guys aren't into it.
No, I'm into it.
Like not that interesting.
I guess the only constraint is like, whatever, because like I know that would be hard to balance and like on Chris's side to be like, you know, create the bounds that actually work or whatever.
Exactly.
So I think that's up to Chris. Like I'm down for it as long
as if you guys want to do it, I'm down. We'll figure it out.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if
keeping track of how many mags you have and all that. And,
right. Yeah. I don't know if those mechanics are in the game.
I think they are. I mean, there are magazines in the game to load up. So
okay.
I just have to look at the rules for like reloading. Like I don't remember if it's like a specific, like each round is this many shots, or if it's like once you critically fail, I'll figure it out. But I'm sure it's there.
Because I know you can have like shares of a ship. So like even keeping track of like how much money we have, like, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole section on trade too.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So that's, if you guys, let's say, I don't know what type of story you guys want to tell, but there is we could do a whole campaign on trade. I don't know how entertaining it would be, but there is definitely that option.
Yeah. I don't think I have an opinion on which one of those. Like, it's kind of like one of them was like all of them, right?
Right. Yeah. So the Traveler gives you like a little bit of everything.
I'm kind of like currently, that makes the most sense to me that we would touch on everything. Just one that would keep it fresh. And would give us, me an introduction to what each one's like.
Right.
And would, exactly. Like not just doing the same thing over and over.
No, I think that's a good call.
I want a very low stress campaign. I just want just nothing to worry about. Just nice and easy space adventuring.
All right. Stardew Valley.
Space Stardew Valley. Yes.
Stardew Valley in space.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hello Kitty's space-time adventure.
I don't want to worry about anything.
Okay.
Everything will be provided for me. I will die peacefully in my sleep.
Cozy Traveler.
Yeah.
Cozy Traveler. I love it. Ship it.
I will do my best.
No, I can handle stress. It's not real. It's not real, guys.
Okay. Is there anything else that you guys want? If not, we'll move on to don't wants, and we can circle back if you guys remember anything.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So what don't you guys want to see in this? Like, what are the keystones that you don't really enjoy when it comes to sci-fi?
Darth Vader.
There's not something that comes to mind is I don't know if this is necessarily it's not something that I don't want to see in sci-fi. It's something that I just generally think would be good for like the game I would want to play in, is I want to stick hard and fast to how rare psionics is. Like,
oh yeah,
absolutely.
Like I don't want to run into some like random empire on a planet where they've got armies of psychers or something.
That makes sense.
Psionics, like it needs to be as rare as it truly.
So that would be because there's one of the factions in Traveler, like they are like basically babies, all have psionics at one point.
Yeah, I just don't really. I don't know.
That's fine.
I feel like
Yeah, I agree.
kind of take away from
No,
it.
I think that's fine. Yeah,
That's fair.
It's hard enough to get in your character sheet, and it's beyond your control. It shouldn't be everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what else you guys don't want to see? Anything you could think of?
Not really. I mean,
Jar Jar Binks.
Other than the
Whoa.
None of that.
What?
Jar Jar is awesome.
Not
Canonically, he fucks. So
Canonically.
I don't really know. I feel like I definitely am more aware of the things I like in sci-fi than the things I
gotcha.
dislike.
No, that's fine. And sometimes it just doesn't always like if there aren't enough things on there to list out. I just don't know if you had any tropes that like you fucking loathe to see.
No.
You know, like you don't like. I think when we did this for another game, where like someone's like, I don't want mono cult or mono
Theism?
No,
climate worlds.
yeah, I don't want mono climate worlds. Like I want every world to have its like to be a world. Not just like like I said, you go to this planet, a jungle world. Yeah. This one's a water world.
I see.
Star Wars worlds.
I don't particularly mind that.
Yeah, but I just remember when we did that with another game. Someone's like, I don't like that. I don't want to see it. I'm like, cool. That works for me. Like I can make diverse biomes. I mean, there's still going to be planets that are uninhabitable because that's just how space is.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. No, it makes it easy. If that's don't have anything you guys don't want to see, then
Yeah, there's no like sci-fi cliches, and I'm just like not fucking again.
Sure,
There's
that's
none
fine.
of that. It's everything is pretty unique.
I didn't know if
but-
anybody's like, I don't want like bionics or I don't want like
No, that stuff's cool.
Specifically, do one.
I think that shit's cool too, but I don't know what everybody likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys were like, no, cybernetic and Plex, no kind of
Right.
thing.
Ah, that's
Just to
cool.
be controversial, I'm going to say no Gundams at all.
Hard no.
Just kidding.
What about mech
You
suits?
can have Gundams, yeah.
There are mech suits in the game.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I think we've got everything we want. We've got one thing we don't want, which is easy. And then send something to want to play up. So I think I want to. Do we want to keep anything in the Traveler universe that we really like? Like, do we want to have faster than light, like communications, or is everything still going to take longer, like a Western frontier kind of world where they've developed like M drives and J drives, but like that doesn't mean technology and like information travels that fast still.
I kind of like type beam stuff that's not faster than light.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
it's like
cool.
there's still going to be couriers that have to take stuff from planet to planet to
Right.
get it there.
I
And, like-
different levels of technology too.
Oh,
Because like
absolutely.
certain civilizations won't be as advanced as other certain civilizations.
That's 100% going to happen.
So is there faster than light human travel? I know a jump drive is exploiting the rift.
Yeah, the riff. So, I think the M drive is for that. But I don't know if it's
Okay.
called FTL in that one.
Right. It just does make sense to me that we still wouldn't be able to get like electrons to move faster than light.
Yeah. Right.
But we can exploit this thing that's magic called the rift.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm fine with that. Like we can just keep to that travel system they have there.
Okay.
I think for me it was mainly just deciding whether we wanted to go with their kind of history that they've built into it with the different factions, which doesn't sound like we do. We'll kind of create our own thing and go from there. So is there anything, I think we kind of already touched upon it, like in the past, we're going to have some sort of civilization that was there. They're gone. There are ruins left behind. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we want to add that maybe happened in a timeline? Is there anything that you guys want to see, like that you've always enjoyed?
They would inform the world.
Yeah. Like it's something that happened in the past, like a galactic war broke out between two factions or anything like that. The solidifying of superpowers happened like at this point. Like when we start our campaign, do we want to have a center point be the focus and we're like 15 years outside of that?
Well, I think it would be cool if something started the hegemony or federation or whatever.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know what.
I don't know if this is helpful because I don't have a specific, this is what it should be, but you bringing up, central event, something that I really like about Stars Without Number is the scream or whatever it was.
Yes.
Where it was all psionics or whatever across the galaxy. You either died or went mad.
Yeah.
But that's also it cut off all space travel for a long time.
All the gates in Stars Without Number, all the faster than light gates were powered by psionics.
Oh shit!
By people with these psionic power. Yeah, and then the scream happens and wipes them all out, so all the gateways basically collapse.
That's super cool.
And so wherever you're at's where you're at. So
yeah, I
you would have some sort of I don't want to say extinction event, but
galaxy-wide event at some point. It doesn't.
I like that.
It just kind of informs the background of the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need to be all psionics died, but I really liked that idea that there was one galaxy-wide event that no matter where you were, who you knew, whatever,
it affected you.
It affected you.
And I like that. Maybe that's what leads to the hegemony. Hegemony start. Yeah. That event kind of starts bringing everybody together because it affected them. And so, okay, cool. No, I dig that.
I'm gonna add my own little this is a little quirky thing, I guess. I really like it when sci-fis include a miasma field in space. Limited visibility, you can't detect with your scanners what's in there. You just kind of have to go blind, and you have to go through there.
Okay.
Some sort of miasma haze that limits visibility in a negative way, or has some other stat defect, things that affect you more. And it's, I don't know, they did that in Star Trek. They did a couple other things. I kind of like that. In space, there's just a miasma field. You can't sense anything in there with all your technology. That's fucking cool.
Or there's too many, a asteroid field of all just dust. There's too many things to focus on. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This,
I like it.
Take it or leave it. And it's more of a plot tool, but I never mind when they've written in a fix-all for something. Gundam has Minovsky particles that sort of do 10 different things.
Whatever bullshit you want to happen.
Exactly.
The MacGuffin.
Space magic.
Exactly.
Space MacGuffin.
Element Zero.
In Dune, it's spice.
Yes.
Right? If you want to figure out something, it's spice does it.
Yep. Hey,
you know what I mean?
Gotta fly in spaceships.
Yeah.
Get them fucking high on spice and have them navigate.
Yeah.
So I never mind that.
Okay.
I'm if
it's cool.
I think it's cool, yeah. And I think that also kind of plays into the fantasy element. Things that, even though it's sci-fi, are just things that are still unexplained.
Yeah.
I think are pretty cool.
You would think at the bottom of the ocean is unexplained and we don't know what's out there. What about space? What about space? We don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
The things function because they function, but why do they function? And have we discovered all those things yet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to put MacGuffin down.
Yeah.
As long as you know what you mean. We're good.
Reminder that we still don't know what causes gravity. We
Yeah,
know that gravity exists, but we don't know why. It's fucking wild.
God.
Yeah.
God.
Lol.
You're welcome.
Ooh woo.
Oh woo.
I don't like it at all. Okay, cool. Anything else that anybody has to add?
I think most of the things I like about sci-fi.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take these ideas and start trying to get stuff kind of fleshed out.
See what comes out the other end.
Yeah.
Chris, I remember a couple years ago you telling us that you weren't super into sci-fi.
I'm not. So that's why I want to do this. It's a challenge for me to get better at it.
So what sort of sci-fi have you tried that you do like?
I really like The Expanse. I thought The Expanse was really good. I liked... I don't know. I've always liked Johnny Mnemonic and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that one. I thought Cyberpunk was really good. The video game, it was a fun game. The anime I tried to watch, I liked what I watched, but I just don't watch enough TV or anything like that.
Kind of like Blade Runner.
Yeah, I like the Blade Runner book. I don't like the Blade Runner movie.
Yeah.
I hated the Blade Runner movie, but I loved the book. I thought the book was fantastic.
Yeah.
I like Annihilation. I like the Annihilation series so far.
Have you finished that?
No, I haven't started book 3 yet. Oh. I like Starship Troopers.
Yes,
that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of my stuff is more militaristically hard sci-fi that I've gotten really into.
Sure.
There was a really cool movie with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called.
Movie.
But he crash lands on this planet with this little girl, and her dad dies, and so he's helping her on this planet. It's really well done. But it's kind of this retro sci-fi kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't he also an Ex Machina?
I think that was.
It was Oscar Isaac.
That's
Yeah. Red Sack.
I love the Dune book. I think I love the Dune book was great. For what I've watched the movie, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Dune movie sucks. So part 2 is gonna be great.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I
have faith.
I
have
pick a
faith.
lot of stuff here and there that I like. But it's definitely a blind spot for me, and so this is kind of a way to force me to get more into that and try to explore more. Like I got a book right now called Armor. That's basically like a super hard sci-fi militaristic one that's supposed to be really like one of the genre setters for that kind of hard sci-fi military stuff that I need to start reading. But yeah, I'm trying to like I liked The Fire of Serenity. I thought that was a cool movie. Yeah. The show's fine. Like I don't know, it's space western. I like westerns, so I like it enough. But it was the fandom ruined it for me. That's the hardest thing for me is I'm always nervous of fandoms because like they just ruin that's why I'll never get into Doctor Who because the fandom fucking annoys me. I'm sure Doctor Who is awesome and it's a blast.
It goes up and down.
And people like I understand people like it, but like I can't because the fandom fucking annoys me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it's the people who make their entire life about that show. It's like I don't want to be associated. Like even saying
that's why Tumblr sucks ass.
Even like D&D. Like I don't give a
Reddit.
Like I don't give a shit about the D&D lore. I don't fucking care. I want the rule system and I want to base my stuff off. I'll make my own lore. I'll go that route. Like I don't need Elementor. Like that's the one thing that kind of like Baldur's Gate 3 where like all the main characters started showing up. I'm like, I don't fucking need this. Like I don't need any of this. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So yeah, for me, that's why I want to get your guys' ideas so I can try to meet that expectation because I don't know enough about sci-fi I feel like I've got a couple storylines I started working out, but I didn't want to get too deep into making those storylines without talking to you guys and sitting down and knowing what you wanted. So I didn't cross one of those boundaries, but like, they're going to land on this planet full of goo. You're like, I don't fucking want goo.
I hate goo. I don't like it. I hate goo.
Exactly. It's the worst space thing ever.
Gets everywhere.
It's a planet full of gelatinous cubes.
Yeah.
It's just all gelatinous cubes.
But yeah. Like,
boogers.
Yeah, booger planet.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, like, I like Pitch Black. I thought those were really good.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. Those are good.
That's a good example.
I never saw the one where he goes to the planet full of his people. Riddick or whatever.
Oh, Chronicles of Riddick?
Never saw that one.
That one was pretty sick.
Okay. But yeah, so it's like I know I have enough sci-fi background, but it's like I never watched Star Trek. I like the original Star Wars movies, but I haven't liked anything outside of that.
No.
So
except for Jar Jar.
Yeah. Apparently you've chosen that side.
Yeah. What's wrong with Jar Jar?
There's nothing racially insensitive.
No, there's definitely racially insensitive stuff that needs to be addressed.
The
entire like the whole one, like the Trade Federation were just basically Chinese people, like all of that, like. The fact that movie got made and George Lucas was able to sell that for as much money as he got for
2001.
Yeah.
It was wild times.
So 2001's a great sci-fi movie too.
Yeah. Totally.
So, anyways, cool. Well, if you guys think of anything else, we're gonna see each other and talk, so you can just add to this list.
Yeah, I think this is good brainstorming though.
Yeah. And so I will. I'll talk with you all later.
Cool.
Have fun.
Cool.
Bye, Turtle Doves.